Now, why the F isn't Cardano at $10 yet? Is this going through your mind? My guess is yes. My guess is also that you're wanting some good analysis on not only why it isn't at $10 yet, but my thoughts are that you might want some analysis on what it might do. So let's get into why ADA didn't pump after the Alonzo hard fork, and let's talk about what it might do from here, and I have some strong opinions on this, as well as what it is not likely to do from here. So let's go ahead and get the party started. All right, enough intro already. Let's get into, I've got Bitcoin's chart coming up here, and the reason I frequently refer to Bitcoin, even though I'm not holding a lot of Bitcoin presently, why? I'm holding a lot more in altcoins. They are higher risk. They're also because of that higher potential reward, and that is exactly what I want to be holding as the market is going up. Now, when the market is going down, altcoins are not what you want to be holding. Does that make sense? Now, even though the market sometimes goes up and then retraces, I don't usually flip the altcoins during that time frame. So from the bigger, longer bull market, I've been pretty heavy on altcoins. Now, some of my friends think that's crazy. However, my returns have far exceeded their returns. So is it crazy? Well, so far it's worked out great. Is it riskier? Yes. Because if you're holding altcoins when the market flips around strong, your portfolio gets wrecked. So why am I in altcoins like Cardano? Well, Bitcoin is more stable, and because it is more stable, has less upside potential as well as less risk. So when I feel like the rising tide is rising all boats, I would rather be in altcoins that might do a lot better. And altcoins like Cardano have done tremendously better over everything else, right? So let's take a look at the chart of Bitcoin and what it's done. From the bottom to the top, it's gone from essentially just under 3,000, just under 4,000 at 3,800, all the way up to 65,000 at the top, right? And so what's that, about a 20x? Cardano, when I started buying it, was all the way down here at really cheap. It was like about 3 cents. And so it has gone 100x while Bitcoin at its top did a 20x. So 5 times greater returns, right? So now, unfortunately, I was holding some Bitcoin because I wasn't sure when the bull market was really starting, but I was diversifying all through about a year ago into altcoins, and the rest of my portfolio went completely out of Bitcoin into altcoins the last about 6 months ago, so that I can catch the bigger upswing. Particularly, Cardano has been one of my favorites. Why? Because I like the transparency of the team from the get-go. I like their approach to solving some of the major problems we have in crypto, and I just believe that they were going to do some good things, and guess what? I've been absolutely correct on that. Now, into what you really want to talk about, which is price analysis. Why the H is it not all the way at $6 yet? So let's talk about it. We did see this interesting movement here, right? Starting all the way back in December, we saw this massive run from about the 15-cent mark all the way up to $2.50. Now, $2.50 is a nice psychological number. And with that, we had this big retracement. So there was a lot of excitement. Keep in mind, the rest of the market had already pumped, and some of that was then selling. And a lot of that was rolling into Cardano, and Cardano was pumping when much of the rest of the market was tanking. But then Cardano had its retracement too, and it built up some momentum. Now, if you've been following the TA analysis that I do with Paul on Wednesdays, who is absolutely one of the best technical analysis experts in the industry, bar none, you'll see how he starts to analyze things. And this starts to show what we call in this technical analysis a head and shoulders pattern. Big shoulder here, little tiny head actually, and big shoulder, and it's also often followed by a dump, and it's like a 70-something% chance that it's going to dump from here. Well, it wasn't, and that was just some sideways trading and retracement, and it broke up. See, you really don't know till you hit about this line, you watch what it does, and it broke up strong from here and went crazy all the way to about $3, which is a pretty nice run. But let me show you something interesting. In technical analysis, we have these things called Fibonacci numbers and Fibonacci retracements. In fact, what we're showing on these charts here are Fibonacci retracements, and I want to remove those. I want to show you something interesting about its prior run. Now, this is 2017, and you go to the top of that. And where was the price ceiling of what it did this time? Based on, this is the first Fibonacci major number, the 1.272, on the Fibonacci retracement from its prior highs. And so it went to just above this before it then is having a correction. Now, I've done some other videos that often what happens is it comes up to one of these numbers and then it does a pullback here and then it runs some more. And when I was doing my analysis that Cardano could hit up as high as $30 this run, we talked about these numbers and that it would come here and then it would pull back and then it would often run some more. So now it's a little bit behind schedule for hitting that $30. That is my guess, the top of what this market could do. Now, when I say it's the top of what it could do, differentiate that between the top of what it can do and what it will do. Because just because it can do that does not mean it will do that. So, we've seen a retracement here. Now, let's get rid of this Fibonacci retracement and let's zoom in a little bit closer here and let's look at where it's been retracing to. So, we're going to go from this run up to here. Notice that it's found a lot of price support right at the pullback at what we call the 38.2 level here. Now, do note that it can break down from here. And if it breaks down from here, where is it going to go? So right now, people that are trading Cardano actively, they're watching really closely to see what it does from here. Because it could actually continue bouncing off of this support, show some signs of strength, and then come back up here to its high, retest its high, and if it breaks through, it might be ready to run closer to that $6 number. Now my guess is that's not what's going to happen here. My guess is it's going to come through here and it's going to break down from here, and that we're going to get a retracement to some of these levels. Now this level at the $1.80 mark is really where it's had some support before and is going to form some resistance. And it also makes for an even bigger retracement, pulling back that rubber band like I frequently talked about, building some momentum to be able to spring forward. The question I have in my mind is how long is it going to play around in this sideways trading and retracing zone? And that I don't know. We had the Alonzo hard fork. Why did Cardano not run from there, right? I mean, this is exciting news. In fact, there are now like 100 smart contracts being developed on Cardano. Like, everything is bullish. So if everything fundamentally is bullish, why in the world is the price pulling back? So let's talk about that. What's interesting is it reached its peak here on the 2nd of September, and it had this big dump on the 7th of September. Now, that was prior to the Alonzo hard fork. Why in the world would it be dumping prior to the Alonzo hard fork? Well, so if you think about the way investors think, they're thinking risk to reward. And so the risk that things pump on the actual day of the event, the chances that that happen are really small. In fact, I would give it only about 5% chance. One of the only recent ones in memory is when the Ethereum upgrade, which many expected to be a massive failure, came in, and it actually went pretty flawlessly. And so on the actual day of the upgrade and the following days, Ethereum actually pumped, and that is extremely rare. What usually happens is there's a large price increase building up to an event, but when that event actually happens, the price then dumps. And this is why traders refer to buy the rumor. In other words, buy the event as it's leading up to it, or the rumor of the event. When the actual event happens, they say sell the news. And so that's what they did, was they sold the news, right? So if you think about it, that's how investors are thinking. Now, investors know other investors are thinking that way. And as we got a little bit closer to the Alonzo hard fork, what was playing out in their mind is, well, crap, we don't really know how seamless this is going to go. I mean, we've been waiting on this moment with Cardano for 5 years now. So it's exciting that it could happen, but even if it goes well, the chance is that the price is going to dump. And if it doesn't go well, then the price is definitely going to dump. So you saw some investors front running it, selling down here. Now, some got a little exuberant. And I remember this big price decline here, this huge wick down. And then there was some buying pressure, buying it up, buying those dips. And it's pushed the pressure all the way back up to 280. And then it's been playing around in the mid twos since then, you know, with an average price somewhere around 250. So is there a lot to be bullish on? Well, a lot to be bullish on the Cardano ecosystem. Realize though, we just had a massive run from essentially this dollar price support all the way up to $3. And if that's a 3x on a major project and one of the highest market caps in the system. In fact, if we looked at their CoinGecko, what are they, number 3? Yep, they're number 3 and their market cap is $74 billion. So it's got a huge market cap. It takes a lot of momentum to have these massive shifts. Now, if I am right and we do hit $30 at the top of this market, realize that's going to take its market cap to over $1 trillion. Now, I know the naysayers out there that haven't followed Cardano closely, they say that's absolutely impossible. That would be totally unrealistic. So impossible? No. Unrealistic? Yes, absolutely. Tesla's valuation on their stocks hit absolutely unrealistic numbers, but it still became a reality, right? It was unrealistic that it would hit those kind of market caps, and yet it still did. So I differentiate between what's possible and what's realistic very strongly. So I do want to ask you, what are you hoping to see from Cardano by the very top of this market? Do you think it could hit $30? Share with us in the comments below. Also, what is the very highest price you think it will hit during the next 6 months? And let's just give it that window, 6 months. Secondly, I'm curious to hear if you think the price will drop like a rock from here before it keeps going. Or do you think it's actually going to bounce off this retracement level and it's going to go strong, maybe up closer to that $6 mark? Let me know. Now, if you're just also feeling impatient with the market, if you're brand new to this, and I know patience is hard, it's one of the principles that's helped me be very successful in crypto, turning thousands of dollars into millions. But impatience is normal. We're human beings. If you're feeling impatient, comment and tell me what is frustrating you the most about waiting. Also, if you want a quicker response, join our Rainmaker family in the Telegram below, because if you tag me there, I will see it. And if it's a good comment, I'll respond to you as well. So back to Cardano and how we're doing here. Let's take a look. We've got 230. Chances are I'd give it honestly a 65% chance that it breaks down below this and 35% chance it comes back up and retests this high. So I don't know exactly how it's going to play out here. Let me draw out just a few more numbers, tell you how I got to that 60,000 or 60,000. We are not going to see a 60,000 Cardano. Do keep in mind, none of this is financial advice. I'm definitely not your financial advisor. I'm just a crypto investor myself. Yes, I've turned thousands into millions. It's my own money. I did create this channel to share with you the way I think about things, because it's the reason I've done well is because the way I think about it. It's a system anyone can learn. It does have somewhat to do of reverse engineering our minds. So we're not following the crowds. And if you caught when we were talking with Paul, he called it counter, I can't remember the name for it, but there's actually a technical name for it. But I didn't go to school to learn this. It really just comes from the overall concept that my mentor in real estate, who was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, shared with me. And he said, well, you know, in real estate, it's simple. I just take what 95% of people are doing and I do the opposite. And that has worked in my mind over 20 years. And I found out absolutely plays out exactly like that in real estate, because prior to crypto, I did real estate investing and other investing for about 20 years. I've only been in crypto for 4 years. I actually made a lot of mistakes the first year because I didn't think the same principles applied. I learned that they absolutely do, and I was punished hard. I had about 15,000 invested, turned it into 165,000 during the later last bull market because I only caught the last 2 months of it. And then I watched that all turn into about $3,000 because I was holding altcoins and I didn't take profits, and my portfolio got demolished. However, I started to understand the 4-year cycle that crypto has, and I started employing the principles that I already knew with real estate and other types of investing, and those principles have turned my portfolio from thousands into millions. And for many of you, it can do the same. I don't say all of you because it really has to do with how you follow these principles. Now, just as an investor myself, I can't give you financial advice. I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to give you specifics on what decisions to make. That is up to you, but I am going to share with you continuously the principles that work for me, and they will work for you too, because these principles don't come from me. I didn't make these up. I just used the heck out of them. So here's where I got my $6 number from this previous high here. and you find the $6 takes us right to the 3.618. And my guess is we're definitely still going to hit at least this. I can't promise you. It's unpredictable in this. I'm holding a whole bunch myself. In fact, ADA is still my largest holding. Now, I am diversifying slowly out of Cardano. When it's really hot, I'm taking a little bit. And the reason I'm taking a little bit out, even though I think at the top it could hit as much as $30, the reason I'm taking some out is because I'm rolling it into riskier altcoins that are at lows, that are boring. If you follow my channel, you know that I say buy when it's boring. And I love to buy when it's boring and then patiently wait till it is not boring. Like some of the things I've been patiently buying until they're not boring is Chain, Ecomi's token, the Omi token, some of the other Polkadot ecosystem projects. I was buying when it was boring some of the Solana ecosystem projects. In fact, I know a bunch of my audience made a ton of money on those. And so, yeah, I take profits out of here and I roll them into some of the riskier things, but some of the riskier things that have a better chance to 30 or 40 or 50x from here. Though still, even with taking some profits, Cardano is still by far my largest individual holding. All right, so this takes us to $6 here if it goes up to $6 here. And then from there, if we were to draw a Fibonacci retracement going up to $6, excuse me, up to 6 here, then you look, and if it hits that one high mark, it takes us just under $30 to $28. Now, in a full blow off top, things go completely irrational. So those that are saying, oh my gosh, that's not possible, that's not rational, you're right that it's not rational, but not rational is different than not possible. It was not rational that XRP, the last cycle in 2017, hit like $3.40 or whatever the top was, $3.70. It was completely irrational. But it was still possible because it did do it. Although if you had asked people when the price of Ripple was under a penny if it could ever hit $3, they'd tell you that's absolutely impossible, and yet it did it. Does that make sense? Now I do want to thank our sponsor, and you'll see their logo at the top right here. Sponsor EtherCards, not only makers of some of the best artwork NFTs, especially if you've seen their OG and their alpha artwork, is truly amazing, but they've done some things to upgrade the technology of NFTs, not only for their own project, but for all the Ethereum based NFT projects out there. I mean, if Bored Apes or some of the other, especially some of the ones that are trying to compete with Bored Apes, you really should reach out to EtherCards and see what they can do to upgrade all your NFTs to have function there, because this is the future of where NFTs are going. Okay, we get that you have like 2D art and stuff, that's cool, and some of the ideas are really cool, but what if your NFTs could upgrade themselves automatically in certain ways based on certain milestones? Make sense? All right, so Cardano. Here's my thoughts overall on taking profits on Cardano, because it is important. Remember, this is what really messed me up. Cycle 1, 2017, is imagine if I had taken some profits on the way up, and you never know where the top is, so it'd be unrealistic to expect I would have invested 15,000, got to 165,000, and known exactly where the top is. But say I had taken profits along the way and I had $100,000. Imagine if I had 100,000 liquid in, say, stable coins like USDT, and then I had been buying at the lows of the bear market that followed, how much better position I would be. See, that's what I'm sharing with you, that I hope you learn from my mistakes, is that this cycle, if you take profits, imagine how well positioned you are setting up for the crypto winter that will follow. Now, I hear more and more people making the argument, and this same argument was made back in 2017, and I believed it, that there wouldn't be a pullback this time. It would just keep running and running. Now, there is a chance that happens, and I would give it maybe a 10% chance, and here's why I only give it 10% chance. If you were around in February and March, we had a mini bull run. But what followed the mini bull run? Yeah, a mini bear market too. And if you thought that pullback was savage, if you experienced it, if not, you can look at the charts and see it. Boy, imagine how savage the pullback is going to feel when we have a massive, massive run, because massive, massive runs are always followed by massive, massive pullbacks. And maybe this is the time they're different. The only way that that's the case, in my opinion, is if dollars and euros print themselves to infinity. Could happen. The rate I'm seeing is scary, but not bad enough to cause that, in my opinion. That's why I only give it 10% chance. So I'm not positioning myself for that because I feel like it's too high a risk. Though, feel free to do what makes sense to you. Make sense? All right. So if you're ready to level up your game, join us through subscribing as we get into how to analyze projects in ways that turn my portfolio from thousands into millions. And the system that I share will work for you. But before it can, you also have to understand it, as well as you have to understand how to look for undervalued projects to be able to buy when it's boring. And that comes through joining us on a daily basis. So if you give this video and watching it, you like it at least a 6 out of 10, would you hit that like button? And if this video sucked and was like a 5 out of 10 or less, would you hit the dislike button? I would love to hear that kind of feedback. Also, comment below and tell me what sucks so bad if that is the case. I appreciate all of you joining us. For those of you who are my longtime subscribers, you know what this rap song coming up is all about. And if you want to stick with it and hear the whole song, great. And if not, that's cool too.
Came into the space chasing all of the games, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, you bad before you're good. Was taught to buy when it was boring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I sit the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't lead with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. The time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, to study and to know that nothing comes easy but when knowledge the gain show. Sticking at best wrong cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing and when it's slow will be the target. Naysayers come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. I'm sticking around, the time is better. I'm strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. In 2 years time the bull will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. This game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough. And that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.